Is happening, everybody? My name is Professor Bobby Borg, and today what I'm going to be talking about is essentially the complete marketing process. So we're looking at the music industry from the perspective of it being a music-centric industry or an artist-centric industry. And the reason why we're doing that primarily is for two reasons. Number one, in the US, right, the typical way the music industry functions today, unlike the way it did in the past, is that an artist has to get some traction before anybody is interested. And then typically when an artist gets traction, managers kind of, respond, sync people respond, record companies respond, music publishers respond, et cetera, and on and on and on. So without the artists sitting in their house creating music and trying to release music and on Spotify and actually on TikTok, etc., typically speaking, they're not going to be found or discovered. Now, the old music industry typically was artist development. So A&R would find an artist, develop them, and over the course of a couple records, an artist might break. Okay, those days right now, for the most part, are over. Okay, and also we're focusing on the music industry in the U.S. primarily because the music industry in the U.S. is the biggest market. Second biggest, Japan. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So essentially, the marketing process starts with a vision. So an artist has a vision of where they want to go or where they want to end up ultimately, and they have a very, very clear idea of what that vision is, okay? And an artist's vision is extremely important because if you don't have a clear idea about where you're going, you can essentially fall for anything. So you have to have a clear idea about, the sound and style of music, the purpose for why you're doing your music. You need the where and the why, essentially. Okay, and you create what's called a vision statement. Step number two, the reality of it is you don't want to just be living a fantasy or a dream. Step number two now is really doing what's called a 360 checkup, seeing what's going on in the music industry, seeing what's going on within yourself. So where are the opportunities in the music industry and where's the music industry going? And then also look inside yourself. What are your strengths that you can capitalize on? This is extremely important, obviously, because I'm not suggesting that we follow trends, but you got to be somewhat aware of what the heck is going on in the music industry and where there's holes and where there might be opportunities. And then, of course, you have to be aware of really what you're good at, okay? Step number three would be then identifying your target audience. Who are the people that are most likely to be interested in your music and consume your music? And then we need to understand everything about them. And we need to understand, what makes them tick, essentially, the words that they use, the places that they go. And we need to really kind of internalize that. And we need to create strategies to make sure to meet that. Okay, another thing, step number, 4 is now competition. So everybody has competition. Look at the other artists out there that are similar to you or that could take attention away from you. And the reason why we do this, it's kind of called like marketing. You understand other people that are like you when you see some of the things that they've done and the successes that they've had, and then you sort of piggyback a little bit on that, okay? So for example, when you release your singles to Spotify, create playlists of people that are similar than you, but more popular than you, obviously, to try to train the algorithm that you're associated with these types of groups. Okay, and the more good data that you pump out there, the better it's going to be for you to gain traction. Okay, another reason why competition is extremely important is because it can help you to find a competitive advantage. By looking at what everybody else is doing, you can position yourself uniquely among those people and you can stand out. Okay, then we do what's called testing and feedback. We never want to do anything in a vacuum, sitting up in a room, just creating stuff, thinking it's genius, because hope is not a strategy. We have to be a little bit clear about how people sort of are perceiving what we're doing. And you have to be careful about asking the wrong people, obviously. So you want to ask people, again, that are sort of in the realm of your perceived audience. Get a sense for like whether or not they're vibing on what you're doing. Okay, you can learn a lot from this. Now we're ready to set our goals. Goals are different than a vision in that now it's putting the vision to action. If I want to get all the way over here, what am I going to do on the way to getting there? Okay, so in other words, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start mapping out the step-by-step process to get there. All right, so then we move on to strategies to achieve those goals. Strategies to achieve those goals would be really having a clear company brand of who you are as an artist, what you stand for, a clear definition of your story, of your fashion sense, of how you're going to present yourself, because you want to keep the cycle going. You don't want to just push people over to Spotify and then get them to listen to your track and leave. You want them to keep on coming back. And the only way they're going to do that is if you have a cool brand that interests them, okay, and they want to be part of. Also, branding for your products is important. Then product development, making sure that your brand comes to fruition by having the right producers and the right recording people and the right musicians. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you have products that you can monetize. This is all part of a product development plan. Okay, then moving on, pricing. In this day and age for artists, there's not really much that you can price. But when I talk about price, we're talking about things like maybe selling your own vinyl, selling your own merchandise and shows, maybe having some sort of, special like content club, like, like a Facebook group or something of that nature, okay? That requires like a fee, like maybe $1 or whatever a month or whatever. Okay, these are ways that you can monetize. You can also monetize through Music Sync, and there's a whole lot of things you can do, okay? Then of course, we need to talk about promotion. And when we talk about promotion, primarily we're talking about getting on Spotify playlists. We're talking about obviously doing shorts and reels and TikToks. We're also talking about, advertising and doing meta ads and doing Google ads and some boosts maybe as well. We're also talking about influencer campaigns. These are the primary ways that people are promoting themselves today. But then also don't forget about things like email lists, making posters with QR codes and stickering and all that kind of guerrilla marketing stuff too, which a lot of bands have to do because they don't have money to run ads and and try to get on certain playlists. All right. Then of course, the next thing we have to do is we need to make sure to put the plan on paper, because if it's not on paper, it's only vapor. And that way we have a marketing tool that we can give to managers and our band members and other people so that they understand what we're trying to do. Okay. And then, essentially that marketing plan is going to have a budget and a timeline. Okay. Then we need to execute this thing, because it doesn't matter like how great your plan is if you can't execute it. And execution has a lot to do with motivation, and hopefully you're motivated to succeed. And intrinsic motivation is the best. That's when it's from inside and no one has to tell you what to do. Extrinsic motivation is when you're motivated from external things, and that's bad. So if you're just motivated by like the success you think you're going to have and the cars you're going to drive, that's going to be really tough when things get shitty. Because you're going to ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this, right? Those are usually the people that want success fast. And the truth is, this is a long, road to the top if you want to rock and roll. I mean, AC/DC said it best, right? So after you are executing it, then you have to keep on learning, because marketing is not stagnant. Marketing keeps on changing. The algorithm keeps on changing. Things you have to do keep on changing. Lots of things stay the same. Lots of traditional marketing concepts and things stay the same, but you just have to kind of look for, how people are responding now, because that types of thing oftentimes changes. Okay, you guys, so that's like the complete marketing process. Hopefully, if you do all that, you start to gain traction and you start to get people that are interested in you, and then these people kind of come aboard and they might be able to elevate you to the next level. But if you're not able to roll up your sleeves and do everything that I'm talking about, you're at tough luck. Okay, everybody, so my name is Bobby Borg, helping musicians turn their art into a more successful business. I hope that you guys dug this first class of the fall season 2025. Peace, love, and later. See you guys.